This is News 8 Now, this morning.
Couple times a month, and you don't count any of the extra stuff, that increase can be impactful for families who need it, and it can be a barrier to people participating in this process.
I think people have been really impressed by Tammy Baldwin's political talent, her ability to connect with different people all over the state. And so she can run a statewide campaign in a way that many Democrats have been criticized for not doing.
A lot of people are actually victims and survivors of this, and we often don't talk about it, and it is something that I think we all need to come together and support each other through.
Good morning, everyone. That was your morning eye-opener. I'm Sophia Pullman.
And I'm Derek Sibley.
It is Tuesday, April 18th. We got a bunch of snow this weekend. It's already starting to melt.
Yes, thankfully, right? That's what happens when those temperatures warm
and
right back up.
let's knock on wood that we don't get it again.
Yeah, fingers crossed, right? I mean, that was a pretty major snowstorm for April.
I pulled into Woodman's to go grocery shopping, and I was in the store for maybe 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And when I came back outside, my car had at least 2 inches of snow on it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, just covered.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we picked up anywhere between that 6 to 12 inch mark, and some spots even saw well over a foot of snow in some spots out there as well. And of course, we had many reports of power outages. Luckily, only a few power outages remain. I just checked from Xcel Energy reporting about 10 customers still without power near the La Crosse area. So that's good news, as that power continues to be restored. But current temperature readings are into the 20s, low 30s here at the moment. Sparta's at 19, however. Black River Falls even much colder than that at 16. We are missing that temperature up right now from La Crosse, from the airport, however. Hopefully we'll get that restored. Mostly clear skies currently across the area. For as far as your planner today, lots of sunshine, temperatures warming up into the 50s under partly cloudy skies as we head into the later afternoon hours, though. And for your allergy report today, poplar is low, juniper and trees medium. Same forecast here for tomorrow. Cold and wet conditions this week will help suppress some of those pollen levels. And by the way, we'll talk about some of those colder and wetter conditions here in the next couple of days in my full weather forecast in just a few minutes. Sophia?
Thanks, Derek. Let's get to some news this morning. Buffalo County Police have arrested a Winona man who allegedly led police on a car chase through 2 counties. A Buffalo County Sheriff's release says 47-year-old Dennis Limke fled north on Highway 35 during an attempted traffic stop, allegedly throwing bags of suspected methamphetamine out of his window. Police called off the chase for public safety, but Pierce County deputies later found Limke and made the arrest. Limke was on probation for 2 drug-related cases in Pepin County. The Advocacy Center of Winona is working hard to empower victims and survivors of sexual and domestic violence. Our very own News 8 Now's meteorologist Derek Sibley sits down with 2 of their members and shares how we all can help.
Joining us is Crystal and Cara from the Advocacy Center of Winona. Ladies, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
So just some questions here. What exactly is the Advocacy Center of Winona, and what's their mission about?
Yeah, so we're a dual agency, which means we support survivors of sexual and domestic violence. Our mission is to empower survivors, which basically means allowing individuals to seek services for Sorry, I am having a hard time.
That's okay.
Now.
That's okay.
Allowing survivors to seek services for sexual assault, domestic violence, and stalking.
And what events do you guys have coming up that people can know about?
A child abuse awareness walk happening on April 25th. On April 27th, we have Hands Are for Celebration, and April 30th is Sexual Assault Interagency Council walk as well. Very nice. Speaking of sexual assault, what are some common signs that friends or maybe even loved ones might notice as they're going through that? Yeah. So for domestic violence, it can look like a partner might be isolating someone, or they might be withdrawing from their friends and family. For sexual assault victims, it can often, they might present and tell you about an instance later, so, because they take time to process. And so supporting them through that as they figure out and reconstruct the events of a night, and just showing them support and telling them, you know, I believe you and I'm here for you.
Right, and you know, how can people actually kind of seek that support when they're going through that type of sexual assault?
Yeah, so I would say listening to them and continuously showing them support and letting them have agency over what you do, like what the next steps are, because not everybody wants to report things. They need support and they need the ability to make those choices themselves, because they've already had their autonomy taken away from them.
And how can people actually support, you know, can we talk more about that, going kind of more in depth, like how do they support a loved one who's going through that, because it's such a sensitive time. So.
Yeah, I think one of the things is that the Advocacy Center of Winona, we have advocates available 24/7. We have a crisis line. So if somebody wants more support, if they need support either through a forensic examination, or they need to have individual counseling, or they want to be set up with a therapist, things like that, they can call the Advocacy Center of Winona, and an advocate will be available at any time of day and night, holidays and weekends included.
And what is that hotline number?
It's 507-452-4453.
Okay. And what would you say to someone who is watching this and is experiencing domestic violence or sexual assault? What's the message?
You are not alone. There are so many people who have gone through this as well, and we believe you, and whatever you choose to do next, we are here to support you.
Very nice message. Well, do you want to tell any of our viewers anything else about maybe any of the important information that may be coming up at all with your program?
Well, with our program, a few statistics that we have is that for sexual assault in the last calendar year, we provided 7,543 services.
Wow.
And so 5% of our population that we serve is male, 94% female, and 1% non-binary or trans individuals. So we see a lot of individuals and we provide a lot of different services, and those services can look like anything from accompaniment to crisis intervention, and walking somebody through the legal system. If they're a student at Winona State University or another university, we could also walk them through the Title IX process, and really support their autonomy in figuring out what their self-directed needs are.
Right.
And so we just want survivors to know that we're here, we believe you, and please call if you need any support, or if a friend or family member needs support.
All right, well, thank you guys so much for coming today. Very important and knowledgeable information.
Thank you.
The Advocacy Center of Winona has more events coming up later this month. We have a list of those on our website, news8000.com. In the city of La Crosse, the fire department is asking for help in its investigation of a house fire, asking people to send them any footage from Friday's fire on Brackenwood Court near County Road B. The fire started around 2:45 p.m. Officials believe any photos or video taken before fire crews arrived could help them find out where and how the fire started. If you have some visual media that could be helpful, send them to the email address on your screen. You can also call that number for more information. Fire officials are lifting burn bans in Vernon County and the city of Onalaska. Vernon County had been under a burn ban since last Wednesday, Onalaska since Monday. Per Vernon County's release, outdoor burning can resume, including brush and grass, but they're asking residents to call the Vernon County Sheriff Dispatch both before you start burning and once you're done. The Grand Crossing and Willow Trail in the La Crosse River Marsh are closed until further notice. The closure started at 9 Monday morning. According to a release, the La Crosse Parks Department said the closures are because of high water. The trails will be closed until further notice. Fountain City officials are asking for volunteers to help businesses and residents prepare for floodwaters. The city is asking volunteers to commit to 2-hour shifts, the first starting at 8 this morning. Volunteers should bring a pair of work gloves and a shovel if they have one. The city will provide other supplies, food and water. Anyone interested in volunteering can contact the mayor, Public Works, or City Hall to sign up for a time frame. They can also show up on Liberty Street near the post office and check in there. We have contact information on news8000.com. The La Crosse School Board voted to approve the district's first wage increase for board members in over 20 years. The school board's last wage increase was in 1999. The proposal would increase future board members' annual salary from $3,480 to $4,000. Board member Annie Baumann says the changed amount adds an extra $20 per paycheck. Baumann added the increase could help future board members who need to pay for evening childcare to attend board meetings.
A couple times a month, and you don't count any of the extra stuff, that increase can be impactful for families who need it, and it can be a barrier to people participating in this process.
Several members said they were uncomfortable with the optics of the proposal, but outgoing member Shondell Spivey said the optics would never look good for any board, past or future. The proposal passed 7-1, and the wage increase will go into effect for the incoming school board. A Prairie du Chien team is getting some well-deserved recognition. The area's Special Olympics basketball team took home the championship at this year's state tournament. It was the squad's first ever state appearance. Bluffview Middle School students and staff hosted the champions with a celebratory pep rally. One player says it was exciting to have all the kids recognize their entire team.
Kids actually that I met at the park that said hello to me and said I was the GOAT.
Chase says he's proud of how his team passed the ball and got everyone involved to win it all. Still ahead on your morning news, why a decision on the debt ceiling could affect your wallet and earnings, and why hot and dry weather benefits farmers during the growing season. That and more coming up this morning. For now, we're sending you to break with something to put the good in your morning. Today is National Lineman Appreciation Day. Linemen are the workers who keep our electricity running. From the power plant to the meters on our homes, these men and women build and maintain the power grid that keeps our nation going. They work tirelessly to return service to areas hit by severe weather. Even when there is no emergency, linemen work under risky and dangerous conditions. If you're using power right now, you have a lineman to thank today. Don't go anywhere. Your consumer news at News 8 Now this morning after the break.
Well, we're off to a mostly clear start this morning, as you can see behind me from our satellite and radar picture there going on. We got temperatures mainly into the 20s and 30s this morning with clear skies as we head out the door this morning with you and your furry friend. The walking conditions this afternoon also looking nice and sunny, and we will continue to remain that way up until about the evening, because that's when we can expect some partial increase in clouds, if you will, across the area by that point. Temperatures in the 30s, like I mentioned here, 30 in Winona there, 28 in Viroqua. We're seeing temperatures into the teens, though, however, in portions of Black River Falls and the Sparta area, though. So for your zone forecast today, I expect highs to reach around 57 in both Onalaska and La Crosse this afternoon. Further south, we'll be reaching highs at 56 in Gays Mills and 52 today in Westby. Meanwhile, 53 in Viroqua. We'll be at 54 in Winona today, 53 in Black River Falls, and 51 in Osseo. Highs in the low 50s in the Chippewa Valley here this afternoon. So for your schoolcast this morning, we are definitely looking cold and clear. Temperatures at 31 degrees. On the way back home, though, we will be looking at temperatures warming up to 51 degrees, partly cloudy skies and slightly on the cool side. Now, meanwhile, for your mowing forecast today, we are looking pretty good. 34 degrees here this morning. By noon, 46 degrees. We should be at 57 degrees if you plan on mowing your lawn around 5 p.m. in the day. I'll have your full weather forecast still to come in just a bit.
In your consumer news this morning, a financial crisis may be a worry as lawmakers in Washington, D.C. have yet to come to an agreement on raising the nation's debt ceiling. The decision could have potential real-world implications for your wallet. A default on the U.S. debt payments would cut off the U.S. Treasury from borrowing, affecting your earnings. And experts say you might not be able to protect everything as lawmakers try to find a solution.
Unfortunately, we're hostage to this because there aren't a whole lot of action steps that we as consumers can take to fully insulate ourselves.
To guard your finances, McBride says to pay down your debt and build up emergency savings. The deadline to file your taxes is today. If you want to file your taxes for free, you can do so on the official IRS website. Failure to file taxes will result in a monthly penalty on the total unpaid amount. If you need to file your taxes after today, you can still request an extension. As the temperatures took a rise last week, farmers are looking forward to the warm air for growing season. Will Keneally explains why hot and dry air is better for growing crops.
Out here in Sauk County, the warmer, drier weather yields exactly what you'd expect: warmer, drier soil. But what you don't see beneath the surface is how much of a benefit that can be for farmers.
Let's get about 2 inches in there, and that's just a thermometer from the kitchen section.
The ground in Sauk County was a balmy 60 degrees today, and the warmer soil can be a boon for farmers, letting them get their crops in weeks earlier. That has a big benefit for them. Without doing much else, that could impact the environment.
It really doesn't take any extra inputs to push our yield up by several bushels per acre. And when you're talking, $10 to $14 a bushel, that's a huge amount of extra profit on every acre for no real added cost.
Growers usually use insurance dates as a timetable. UW Extension's Sam Bibby says that's often around April 26th. Planting after that means your crops can be insured against a late freeze. This year, that's up as early as April 15th for southern Wisconsin.
I imagine quite a few people will be pushing right up against those dates, especially with this warm weather we have.
Even if you have a small vegetable plot, you can follow Bibby's advice of getting crops into the ground sooner than later. But he stresses start small, maybe 5% or less of what you plan to grow. But for those of us who just like to eat the results,
it is possible with good weather like this, we could see more crops at the farmer's market earlier maybe. But it all depends on what happens in the next 2 weeks.
Looks like farmers will be on hold for just a little longer after yesterday's snowstorm. That's it for your morning consumer news. Could we see any warmer weather coming, Derek?
Yeah, it looks like we will be looking at some warmer temperatures here today, Sophie. And our temperatures here as we head throughout the rest of the week, a little cooler than average, but nothing too significant. We'll get to that in a second. City Cam 8, downtown La Crosse, definitely on a clear note. And meanwhile, in Eau Claire, you can see some of that snow here left on the median on the ground there. 30 degrees with clear skies in Eau Claire currently, with a feel-like temperature of 24 degrees. The winds out of the north-northwest at 6 miles an hour. Current temperatures across the area, mainly the 20s and 30s, some spots in the teens like Black River Falls and Sparta here right now this morning. As we get check on your daycast, we will be looking at 33 degrees by 7 o'clock with plenty of sun. 46 degrees still remaining clear by noon today, and then turning mostly cloudy by 4 o'clock. Temperatures at 54, partly cloudy, 47 degrees by early this evening, with our forecast highs today expected to be mainly in the 50s. In fact, La Crosse today probably the warmest out of everybody, with a high expected for you at around 57 degrees. Now, temperatures will continue to remain well below average here over these 6 to 10 day forecast periods, and that's because we're watching a series of trough of low pressures moving in from the north, and that could give us some cooler conditions to work with, even some wetter conditions, which I'll get to here in just a bit. As of right now, though, things are looking nice and dry with only a few clouds well to our east here at the moment. We will continue to remain this way throughout the morning. Notice the temperatures warming up into the upper 30s to low 40s by the late morning as well. Now, here's 2 o'clock. A lot of us are looking clear. Some cloudier skies moving in from the west across our western communities. Those clouds, though, however, will move east. And as a matter of fact, we even could be looking at some widespread showers and thunderstorms moving in across the area as we head into early tomorrow morning. And then by 6 p.m. on Wednesday tomorrow, we will be looking at some leftover scattered showers. What is that from? Well, it's from this trough of low pressure that is moving in here as we head into the day tomorrow. And you can see the associated warm front helping to spark off some showers and storms here out ahead of it. And the same can be said as we head into tomorrow evening as well. Now, here comes Thursday morning, and that that system is going to continue to march in our general direction. That will be giving us another round of showers and storms here to work with as the system closes in on the Coulee region for tomorrow afternoon. And you can see they're still looking very wet before some dry air kind of wraps in on the southwest side of the system for Thursday evening. That's when the rain and storms should taper. But then you can see some snow showers on the back side of that system, though. We'll keep an eye on that, but I think for the most part that's probably not going to necessarily make it here, according to the latest indications. But severe weather outlook here, you are seeing a slight risk here highlighted in yellow to our southwest. We're on the northern fringe of that severe risk under that marginal category, highlighted in green for gusty winds, hail, and heavy rain for tomorrow evening and also into tomorrow night with that storm system moving through. So something to watch out for there. So after we get through the stormy weather tomorrow and Thursday, lingering cloud cover is likely Friday through Sunday with highs into the upper 40s, low 50s. We warm up into the mid to upper 50s, though, by early next week with low temperatures mainly into the 30s. Stay tuned, though. We're back with much more news and weather still to come on News 8 Now this morning. We're taking a quick break with a look what happened on this day in history for April 18. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Blitz. Best record in the NBA, top seed in the East, home court throughout the playoffs. But after losing their superstar early on Sunday, the Bucks now find themselves in an 0-1 series hole against the 8th-seeded Heat. It all went down in the first quarter in Game 1. Giannis going up for the score here, coming down hard on his lower back. The two-time MVP would leave the game with what was called a lower back contusion at the time. He did not return. Just 8 minutes of action for Giannis and Miami, taking advantage of it as the Heat steal Game 1 in Milwaukee to go up 1-0 in this best-of-7 series, 130 to 117. But now the focus shifts to Game 2, and all the attention is on whether Giannis will be ready to go come Wednesday night. Here's what Coach Budenholzer had to say about Giannis' status as of yesterday.
He's still sore, but I think progress, and he's getting some treatment. And, I think we'll just continue to monitor him for the next, 24, next day or two. And probably fortunate that, 2 days between games. I think still mostly positive, mostly optimistic. But we'll see how he feels over the next, day or two.
Now, there is some good news. Giannis's MRI coming back clean on Monday, so signs are pointing to him being available for Game 2 on Wednesday night in Milwaukee. As for Minnesota, a late start for the Timberwolves in Denver in Game 1. The Nuggets made it look easy. 29-point victory for the top seed in the West. 109 to 80 the final in this one. Minnesota had not been held to 80 or fewer points since 2016. Karl-Anthony Towns promising things will be different in Game 2. That one takes place Wednesday night in Denver. Big news for former Caledonia standout Eli King. 6'3" guard entered the transfer portal last month after just one season at Iowa State. King played in just 9 games with the Cyclones, but chances are he'll see a little more playing time next year as King will be transferring to North Dakota to join the Fighting Hawks in the Summit League. That's going to do it for the Blitz. We'll see you tonight.
A video posted on social media reportedly shows artillery rounds being fired in East Khartoum late on Monday night. Reuters was able to verify the location of the video, the date, and the time, however, was unable to verify who was firing the rounds or whom they were targeting. The violence between the Army and the Rapid Support Forces has killed at least 185 people and injured more than 1,800, said UN diplomat Volker Perthes. It has been 13 weeks of violent protests since French President Macron announced his pension changes. After signing the very unpopular pension changes into law, Macron gave a national address on Monday. In his speech, he discussed the challenges that the French government is facing when it comes to the economy, primarily in terms of improving wages and working conditions, maintaining his defense of raising the retirement age from 62 to 64, describing it as a necessary measure. The Iowa Stead Family Children's Hospital launched an initiative to make their patients feel more comfortable by adding new wraps to their MRI and CT equipment to make them less intimidating to kids. Saturday Hospital employee Emily Baxter spoke about the success of the program and how receptive kids have been.
It was great. She immediately, when she saw it, wasn't afraid of it because it's inviting. It's colorful. We had talked, of course, ahead of time about the tent theme and how, it's kind of be like you're going camping, but that you can talk ahead of time what it looks like, but this is really cool.
The wraps are part of the hospital's No S'mores initiative. At least 500,000 people in the U.S. have been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, according to the National Institutes of Health. But that number is likely higher as many are undiagnosed or misdiagnosed. Mandy Gaither has more on new lab tests that may change the way Parkinson's disease is diagnosed.
The signs can be subtle at first. Parkinson's disease is a progressive condition that typically isn't diagnosed until physical symptoms appear, like tremors and trouble balancing. But new lab tests may be changing that.
He is a game changer in Parkinson's disease, no question.
The new tests detect traces of a key protein that abnormally clumps in the brain of a person with Parkinson's disease. One test, SynTap, looks for seeds of the protein in spinal fluid. A large study by the Michael J. Fox Foundation found that overall, the test correctly identified people with Parkinson's disease 88% of the time and correctly ruled it out 96% of the time.
Now, for the first time, we can measure this in life in people with Parkinson's disease, and also perhaps even more importantly, people who may be at risk for Parkinson's disease, but don't yet have the symptoms of Parkinson's disease.
Dr. Ken Merrick says Parkinson's disease begins in the brain many years before symptoms start.
The real key here is that it offers the opportunity to develop treatments prior to the onset of symptoms, so that we might ultimately be able to prevent the symptoms of Parkinson's disease.
This test joins another one called SYN1, which has been available since 2019. It's studied with funding from the National Institutes of Health. Infectious disease experts say it's time to end masking in healthcare environments. Physicians say the updates published in the Annals of Internal Medicine reflect advancements in prevention and management. Mayo Clinic no longer requires masking at their facilities. A Roman Catholic cardinal has been charged in Wisconsin with sexually assaulting an 18-year-old man. A criminal complaint filed Friday alleges that in 1977, Theodore McCarrick touched a man while staying at a cabin in southeastern Wisconsin. The unnamed alleged victim told investigators that McCarrick had repeatedly sexually assaulted him when he was 11 and even brought him to parties where older men sexually assaulted him as well. McCarrick was removed from the priesthood in 2019 after a Vatican investigation found he had molested adults and children. He was the highest-ranking Roman Catholic official in the U.S. to face criminal charges for sexual abuse. Wisconsin Democrat Tammy Baldwin announced her intention to run for re-election in the U.S. Senate last week. Will Keneally explores Baldwin's fundraising abilities and which GOP candidates could challenge her seat.
I think it was widely expected that Tammy Baldwin would run again.
That's because she's a top-tier candidate for Democrats. UW La Crosse political scientist Anthony Tragosky says part of that is the fundraising totals that she can put up.
I think people have been really impressed by Tammy Baldwin's political talent, her ability to connect with different people all over the state. And so she can run a statewide campaign in a way that many Democrats have been criticized for not doing.
And Democrats need that. They have a razor-thin majority in the U.S. Senate. Of the 34 seats up next year, Democrats have more to lose. And there's a presidential race next year.
The risk for Baldwin is that she would be dragged down by Biden's low approval ratings if Biden does have low approval ratings in November 2024.
But Tragosky says Baldwin has done a good job creating her own political brand. Now, who would challenge her?
Mike Gallagher, yes. Everyone is watching Mike Gallagher.
He's another one of those top-tier candidates on the Republican side. A good fundraiser, politics that appeal to a broad base.
But the big risk is that as a member of the House, you don't want to give up your seat in order.
While we might see some court cases change policy in Wisconsin here, federally Chergowski expects the Republican Congress will hold the status quo. Here is Derek to tell us more about our weather.
All right, thanks so much for that, Sophia. We are looking at mostly sunny skies here to start off this morning. Kind of caught you off guard there a little bit there, but we got some cooler temperatures here this morning as well. So let's get a check on the forecast overall today. 57 degrees, partly cloudy skies, and overall a slightly cool day out there too. Northwest winds very light today at around 5 to 10 miles an hour. So for tonight, things are changing. We do have some showers here that could move in late at night into early tomorrow morning. Lows tonight at 39 degrees, or winds out of the east at 10 to 15. So for a check on your zone forecast, we're calling for highs into the mid-50s today. 57 Berry Mills, 57 in La Crosse as well. Highs reach 56 in New Albin today, 53 in Viroqua, 52 in Westby. Highs in Winona today, 56 degrees for you, 53 in Whitehall, 51 in Osseo. Chippewa Valley today, you're looking at highs in the low 50s come this afternoon. So for your driving conditions, things are looking sunny. Got plenty of sun in the forecast this afternoon as well for your lunch hour too. And then by this evening, we could see a few clouds develop. We'll talk about your full weather forecast still to come in just a few minutes. Also coming up in our Buzz Report, the couple who celebrated new beginnings at the finish line in a magical way. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Well, what a beautiful start here this morning from City Cam 8 in downtown La Crosse. Looks like a painting out there with crystal clear skies, and you can see that gorgeous glow thanks to that sunrise. Meanwhile, the conditions in Eau Claire also looking sunny here too. Temperatures at 30 degrees. You can see some of the leftover snow here from yesterday's event on the median there on the road. Northwest winds at 6 miles an hour is the current wind conditions there. But check out the current temperature readings across the area. Very cold in areas like Black River Falls and Sparta, where you both are currently into those mid to upper teens. Meanwhile, the rest of us are mainly into the 20s and 30s as you head out the door this morning. 46 degrees and plenty of sun by noon, and then 4 o'clock mostly cloudy temperatures at 54 degrees. Partly cloudy skies around 8 o'clock this evening, with temperatures then dropping into the upper 40s. Meanwhile, our forecast highs today will be in the 50s. I expect La Crosse today to hit a high of 57 degrees. The rest of us here will be into those low to mid 50s. Eau Claire today, you're looking at a high of 52 degrees. Now, these colder temperatures are expected to continue here over the next several days. In fact, here's the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook from the Climate Prediction Center, and you can see a lot of us, in fact, all of us really, across the upper Midwest, including us here in the Coulee region, will be looking at some cooler than average temperatures. And that's because we're watching a series of troughs of low pressure, bringing us some cooler temperatures and also some wetter conditions to work with. But as of right now, things are looking dry. Only a few clouds here and there, mainly positioned to our east. And you can see throughout the rest of the morning today, we are looking at clear skies. Temperatures warming up into the upper 30s, low 40s, and then upper 40s to low 50s by early this afternoon. Some clouds work their way in from the west across our western communities. Those clouds will move east as we head into this evening. Here's tonight by 11, and you can see some cloudier skies moving in. Here comes a round of showers and thunderstorms, though, as we head into overnight tonight and into early tomorrow morning. Some of these could produce some lightning activity and also some heavy downpours as they push through before clearing out by around noon tomorrow. And then some leftover scattered showers are possible throughout the rest of the day under mainly cloudy skies, and as you can see there, temperatures into the 40s. And that is associated with this big trough of low pressure, this low pressure system that we are watching here. And as it continues to move in our general direction, as you can see highlighted there in green, we're going to be looking at some showers and storms associated with this system here as it continues to move towards the east. Here's early Thursday morning, and you can see still some showers and storms associated with it moving on top of us here as we head into Thursday afternoon, while still looking pretty wet around here. This system will be positioned to our northeast. Some drier air begins to work in here, and that should help taper the showers and storms here by Thursday evening. We'll keep an eye on the snow on the northwest side of the system, but I think for the most part the snow should avoid us. However, we'll have to keep an eye on the severe weather potential. The system is expected to produce some showers and thunderstorms that are capable of producing some gusty winds, some hail, maybe even some heavy rain, especially the areas that are highlighted in green for tomorrow evening and tomorrow night. Here's a check on your 8-day forecast. Behind that storm system that's going to bring us the stormy weather for tomorrow and Thursday, we're looking at cloudy skies for the rest of this week with cooler temperatures, highs in the upper 40s to low 50s to close things out.
In our Morning Buzz report, a Virginia couple renewed their vows Sunday near the finish line of the Boston Marathon. Tim Sir and Cherry Rose wore unicorn costumes to honor the Boston Athletic Association's symbol of the mythical creature. The couple wanted to marry at the finish line back in 2020, but the COVID-19 pandemic changed those plans. They ended up getting married in 2021 and chose this year's Boston Marathon to renew their vows.
Reggie, are you ready? I am. Okay, well, I guess we can't put it off any longer. Let's do this. I'm James Corden, and this is The Late Late Show.
James Corden is preparing to say goodbye to The Late Late Show. Harry Styles and Will Ferrell will be the final guests to take a seat on the Corden couch before the series wraps. Diddy will appear in a new Carpool Karaoke and look for one final Crosswalk, the musical performance. The last Late Late Show, with James Corden will air next week on April 27th on CBS.
Come on now!
Okay, so we talked about the Late Late Show in the 5 o'clock. Let's talk about getting married in a unicorn costume.
That's a little interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, how unique is that?
They must be hardcore marathon runners
I guess
if they
so.
want to.
Yeah.
They didn't mention that in the story. I'm curious because I feel like an average person wouldn't do that if they weren't runners.
Yeah,
but
that's not your typical wedding.
who
so
knows?
I don't know.
Before we head to break, it's time to look at today's Look Who's 8.
All right, a happy 8th birthday to Pierce. Pierce is an intelligent and energetic sports enthusiast who loves chicken tenders. Hey, by the way, me too. I love chicken tenders there, Pierce.
Happy 8 months to Bo. Bo is a very smiley baby who loves Mickey Mouse.
Happy 18th birthday to Carly. Carly is hardworking and loves to spend time with her family.
If you know a special someone turning 8 months, 8 years, 18, 80, or 88 years old soon, we'd love to feature them.
That's right. Just upload their photo to our website, news8000.com, and look for that Submit Pictures button under the Home tab on our website.
Stay with us. We have everything you need to know today in 5 minutes or less. Your Morning News Now is up next. Time for your morning news now. The deadline to file your taxes is today. If you want to file your taxes for free, you can do so on the official IRS website. Failure to file taxes will result in a monthly penalty on the total unpaid amount. If you need to file your taxes after today, you can still request an extension. In the city of La Crosse, the fire department is asking for help in its investigation of a house fire, asking people to send them any footage from Friday's fire on Brackenwood Court near County Road B. Officials believe any photos or video taken before fire crews arrived could help them find out where and how the fire started. If you have some visual media that could be helpful, send them to that email address on your screen. You can also call that number for more information. Due to Sunday's snowfall, many Coulee region residents were left waiting for their power to be restored. From some shoveling, the evidence for the winter storm wasn't the only problem. According to Xcel's Energy Community Service Manager Mike Hero, thousands of people in the Coulee region and beyond were left with no power.
Later last night, we started getting quite a few outages come in or called in, and then it continued through today. At the peak, I think we were at about 10,000, and that might have been part of even beyond our area a little bit. And now, like I said, we're down to about 2,500.
Hero says this snowfall was tough on trees. Many of the outages happened because some tree branches couldn't handle the weight of the snow and broke, damaging power lines on their way down. Majority of the Coulee region now have their power restored. For those places that don't, crews are currently working on them. The Advocacy Center of Winona is working to paint the town teal. Families were invited to empower victims and survivors of sexual and domestic violence at Island City Brewing Company Monday evening. To support survivors, attendees wore teal ribbons. The Advocacy Center's co-chair says this is a chance to break the stigma.
A lot of people are actually victims and survivors of this, and we often don't talk about it, and it is something that I think we all need to come together and support each other through.
The Advocacy Center of Winona says they work to support survivors and create a safer community for everyone. More events are coming up later this month. We will have a list of those events on news8000.com. A Prairie du Chien team is getting some well-deserved recognition. The area's Special Olympics basketball team took home the championship at this year's state tournament. It was the squad's first ever state appearance. Bluffview Middle School students and staff hosted the champions with a celebratory pep rally. One player says it was exciting to have all the kids recognize their entire team.
Kids actually that I met at the park that said hello to me and said I was the GOAT.
Chase says he's proud of how his team passed the ball and got everyone involved to win it all. Fountain City officials are asking for volunteers to help businesses and residents prepare for flood waters. The city is asking volunteers to commit to 2-hour shifts, the first starting at 8 this morning. Volunteers should bring a pair of work gloves and a shovel if they have one. The city will provide other supplies, food, and water. Anyone interested in volunteering can contact the mayor, Public Works, or City Hall to sign up for a time frame. You can also show up on Liberty Street near the post office and check in there. We have contact information on news8000.com. The Grand Crossing and Willow Trail in La Crosse River Marsh will be closed until further notice. The closure started at 9 Monday morning. According to a release, the La Crosse Parks Department said the closures are because of high water. The trails will be closed until further notice.
All right, as you head out the door this morning, skies are looking clear. Temperatures are in the 30s. We warm up into the 40s, though, by late morning and also into the early afternoon. Temperatures later this afternoon warm up into the 50s starting around 3 o'clock under those partly cloudy skies to that point then as well. So for your 8-day forecast, we're going to be looking at some showers and storms for tonight, and thunderstorms are also likely heading into the day tomorrow and Thursday. We'll keep an eye on tomorrow. Some of those storms could even turn strong as we head into Friday through the weekend. Lingering clouds and cooler temperatures too.
I'm out of town this weekend, but I'm not liking the cold, cool.
Yeah, I know.
All through until Tuesday.
Yeah, we're a little cooler than average here for our temperatures, but hey, at least it's better than what we had Sunday.
I'm still getting used to La Crosse.
Yeah, I know.
Thanks, Derek.
Yep.
And thank you for watching News 8 Now. Don't forget to keep up with us on the news8000.com.